everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this compact modded steering system. I'm also going to show you how to add the suspension. So let's get on with it. Now the first step would be making the RTC mechanism, the return to sender mechanism for the whole car. If you watch my other tutorials, you can see how to do this. But you can just follow my lead here. And now that's the RTC mechanism. Now we're going to make the steering system. We're going to take the hinge, place it like this. I'm going to use the building tools. Now here's the mods we're going to use. The most important one would be the mod loader to load these other two mods. The building tools by the Guys Who Despise and Easy Scale by Lench. Now I'm going to use the building tools and use the translate selection tool and move the block. Translate selection lets you move blocks anywhere you want. Let me just place it somewhere a little bit far from the RTC mechanism. Looks good. Now we're going to duplicate this hinge and mirror it to the other side. Now select the hinge. And here's a trick on mirroring. You can just find the center, a center block, and in this very situation, our center block would be the core block, and double click. Now the pivot has been moved at the core block's place. Now if you duplicate and mirror, it will be mirrored to the other side. Now our next step would be taking the ballast, place it at the end of the hinge. I'm going to use Easy Scale. I'm going to make it longer and thinner. Now we're going to duplicate and mirror it to the other side. Next step would be taking this hinge, duplicating it, and moving it to the edge of the ballast. Scale it and make it 50% smaller. And duplicate and mirror it to the other side. Once you're finished, we're going to connect the piston and the hinge together, the large ones, and connect these two large ones together. Then connect this core block to the smaller ones. Then we're going to place a brace around this area, point it around here. This is important. So we're going to select the left brace that is connected to the smaller hinge and make it connect to the smaller hinge. There you go, and do it to the other side. Now we're going to select the other brace and move it to these two smaller hinges. There you go. Now we're going to test it. Wait, something's wrong. I accidentally duplicated the core block. Now here's the test. As you can see, that's the whole steering system. I'm going to add the wheels. Move it using the translation tool and move it closer. Then we're going to duplicate and mirror. Now this version doesn't have suspension. Now here's how you add the suspension. You just take the suspension block and place it over there. Move it to the end, to the other end. Do it to the other side. You could have just mirrored it, but meh. Now we're going to delete these braces. And we're going to move the RTC mechanism a little bit higher. I'm going to place it at the same level as the suspension blocks. We can move it a little bit closer now. Now we're going to brace the piston and the suspension. We're going to move the smaller hinges along with the center brace and move it at the back around this area. Now we're going to connect this core block to these smaller hinges. We're going to place a suspension right here. Now we're going to scale it and make it thinner. Oh, wait. Then we're going to move it using the translation tool. Connect it to the smaller hinges. Then we're going to use the rotate selection. We're going to rotate this suspension block about 30 degrees and move it again, and make sure it connects to both the small hinge and the car block. I'm going to duplicate, and there you go. Now we have a full suspension and a steering system, as you can see here. Now we're going to finish this car. Going to take a ballast, place it anywhere, place it right there. Now we're going to take the ballast and move it around that area. You can move it a lot farther, but it depends on you. I'm going to add the suspension. I'm going to duplicate this and mirror it to the other side. I'm going to take the wheel and duplicate it and move it and align it to the ballast. I'm going to test if it connects. If it doesn't, you're going to use easy scale mode again and scale the ballast. You can either make it longer so it connects, something like that. I'm going to use 1.5. Now we're going to do it on the other ballast, 1.5, and we're going to duplicate and mirror the rear wheel. Now once you're finished, we're going to connect the piston from our RTC mechanism to the suspension at the rear. I recommend deleting these braces. Those braces only work without the suspension. So we're going to test now. Wait a minute, let me flip the wheels, give it some more speed and remove the auto brakes. Place it on every wheel, and here we go. I forgot that the turning is inverted since I placed the smaller hinges at the rear. And to swap these directions. Here we go. Here's a simple car. Here's a simple modded car with the suspension. Now let's see if the suspension works. I'm going to add ballast at the top and give them some little weight just to test. You can also reduce the spring for the suspension blocks about 0.5. As you can see, it works really well. Now there you go, the modded steering system with suspension. Let's just do some test drives and test it around that area over there. There's too much torque. Let me just drive it. You see, there's no problems. The suspension does its job. And there you go, a modded steering system combined with a suspension system. I hope you learned something, and thank you for watching.